Hey there everyone, today marks the start of a new series which is about gold farming. This is so long overdue. I haven't done any gold farming videos for 3 years on my YouTube channel, and in fact I never did any proper videos for Archer. I'm now going to bring out 3 videos. This one's for Wizard, then there's going to be one for Archer, and then one for Knight, showing what I believe to be one of the best techniques for farming the map Adamar's Gold Sanctum and Adamar's Gold Circle. Now with that, slight disclaimer, these are not necessarily the best techniques. They're the ones which I kind of worked out to try and be, the best, but someone else might come up with something better. I'm not the best farmer in the game. I only farm with Wizard, so when it comes to the Archer and Knight video, I'm going to be struggling to record the footage, which you won't see, but I will spend many hours trying to record good footage. So anyway, this is just the best I can give you, and it's not necessarily the absolute best. I'm not trying to prove that I'm better than anyone else or anything like that. So for this farming, we're going to show clips in a few minutes, but I wanted to talk first of all about getting your farming set up, as well as the skills which you want to use. Now I'm using the best kind of stuff that you could be using for farming, the equipment set, which gives you move speed and gold find. These come right now, the way they're releasing them is at Christmas. They alternate every other Christmas. They bring out this set for equipment, and then they bring out the set for appearance. And every year they get slightly more gold find put on them, but yeah, basically it alternates between these sets, and people look at these and they go, wow, they're amazing, they give loads of gold find, loads of move speed. They do take a lot of effort to get. They take loads of runs, loads of gold, and they're not for brand new players. So whenever you start, basically prepare in advance that when it comes to Christmas, you need to be set up so you've got high enough gold find that you can farm enough gold so that you can get one of these sets. And these do help a lot in farming. I'm using gold drops trinkets because this is what you go for. Now, I don't have the set from Dungeons. You don't actually want to get this set. This is a very old set. Unfortunately, I couldn't work out how to hack in the set from Dungeons, so I just did this one. I mainly put on the gold find and gold drops for the reason that then you can see me actually getting gold as I do the runs. Because if anyone watches and they see I'm not getting any gold, they may think like, what's this guy now? He's clearly rubbish because he's not getting any gold. So I gave myself a bit of gold find. I've got like 1,390. And then I've got gold drops and stuff, so you can see me getting gold as we do the runs. Anyways, so the gold drops trinkets, you get them from the dungeons. At the end of the dungeons, the final dungeon map, you get a set which gives you 75% bonus gold drops. The necklace is not this necklace. Instead of giving you cooldown reduction, it gives you move speed, 1.9% move speed, which is pretty handy. And as an upgrade to this, you can get a VIP talisman, which I'll just show now. Basically what I mean by VIP talisman is one of the ones that works with any set. So you can use them and it adds to the set bonus, which means that you can swap out one of the pieces, one of the 5 pieces. You have the talisman here and you still have the 5 set bonus giving you the 75% gold drops. And then you can replace that one piece you remove with one which gives you gold find. It just gives you a bit more gold find. It's something you'll see various people have done. But basically, you just want the gold drops trinkets from dungeons, equip those, use them, and everything's fine. Appearance, if you don't have this set from Christmas, then there's not a whole lot you can do here. You just basically have a set and put some gold find crescents in, and you go with that. I think the boots on some of them, you can get 5% move speed. I think from event sets you get that, but don't quote me on that. And then equipment. This is obviously the one from Christmas. If you don't have one of these, there are various move speed items you can get from dungeons, which there's a link in the description below to go to the dungeon overview. It's a thread on the forum where it details at the start of that thread the best move speed items you can pick up. So then use them for farming until you get one of these sets. And that's basically how to do it. Now, there are also 2 move speed spheres in the shop. So if we just look here, I don't think I've bought them on this. I haven't bought them, but because I've got move speed jewels, then you can't see them in the shop. Basically, there are 2 of these. You don't need to get them all the way to max level, just to legendary, and they give you 5% move speed. Having 2 of those obviously helps a lot, getting 10% there. Then we got the passive, which gives you move speed here, and you get a bit from a guild bonus. You get 5% move speed here as well. But anyway, that all adds up, gives you some move speed so you can run around quickly and farm the maps faster. And then getting gold find, there's various places to get gold find. Mainly comes in the form of jewels, which you can get in various places. And there'll be a link in the description below to a place where it will talk about that a little bit more. But anyway, so that's it. Basically, gold find, move speed, and the gold drops trinkets, and that's your setup. Then you can go farming, and it's a very important thing early on in the game to level up those gold find jewels, so you can get a lot more gold when you're farming, do more events, all that kind of stuff. So that's the setup. And then in terms of skills, for Wizard, there are not actually that many skills which are useful in farming. The reason why is because there are certain skills which are just so good that they outclass all the other ones, that the others aren't really any point, there's no point really using them. So the main skill that outclasses everything is Frost Armor's Scurrying. It's either Empowered Flame Armor or Crystal Armor. What these do is they give you a little aura around you, and it lasts for 20 seconds. The cooldown is just over 20 seconds, and then it means that you can just run through things and kill them. It doesn't do much damage for other content, but for farming, it kills enemies, it destroys destructibles, all that kind of stuff. So this is just the ideal skill that you want to be using the whole time, and use it to kill most of the enemies. You mainly want to just run through enemies, and then use the projectile Arcane Ball to destroy things that are not on the main path you're running along. So Arcane Ball, they are actually different air effects, as in like different areas that are hit by the different Scurryings. So the base skill hits quite a small area, and there are a few Scurryings which make it the maximum area. They are Empowered Fire Blast, Primal Ball, and Radiant Ball. These all make it hit a much larger area, which means you can see there, even it hits that thing there. If I were to switch between different Scurryings, you'd see that it kills this chicken, but it doesn't kill this other target dummy. But the biggest area hits that enormous circle there. So you want to get that. The low cooldown as well just means this is going to be available almost all the time. Other than that, you want Teleport. For obvious reasons, Teleport's going to get you through the map faster, and Fire Blink or Ice Blink are two which give you a move speed buff as well for 6 seconds after you use it. It just makes you race through the map. And Fire Blink's technically slightly better because it also gives you 3% move speed just as a base buff. There's actually another Scurrying which gives you 3% move speed as a base buff, and that is Scorching Spiral for Mana Storm. So if you wear both of those, then you have 6% more move speed, just passively. So those are the main skills, and those pretty much cover it, like those 3 skills alone. However, there's a few just for kind of like filling in little gaps, helping out with some things. So I like to use Ghost Drake. It works with either Ghost Drake or either of the Frost Drakes. What they do is they actually do damage where they land. So you can use them as a second projectile. They're harder to aim than Fire Blast, but you can use them like around corners even. Although that's slightly unreliable because sometimes then your character will run around until the target's within view. But anyway, I basically use it as a second projectile. So when there's like, say 2 or 3 things that you want to destroy that are off the path. So you're running through, destroying the enemies, and then killing the enemies. And then there's like 2 or 3 things that you want to hit at the side. Then I can do Arcane Ball on one, Frost Drake on another, and then Arcane Ball on another. And so I said Frost Drake, I meant Ghost Drake. And you can use that to clear out those enemies off to the side, rather than having to wait on the cooldown of Fire Blast every single time. So as a second projectile, I use Ghost Drake. It's also handy in a couple of places, as we'll see when we get to the clips later. And then the final thing to really kind of like, second last thing, to really clear out big groups of enemy is Torrent. So Torrent and also Mad Squirrel, Polymorph. Polymorph, you need either the Mad Squirrel Scurrying or Infected Pig Scurrying. These double the area that it hits and makes it, hit an enormous area. And then any version of Torrent, these all hit the same area. You have to put 99 skill points into this though. The range is then 1000, which is enormous. And basically, you can see there, it hits a ridiculously big area. This is for clearing those big areas. It's not actually that useful, because in most cases, you get them running through here and you don't have to use any skills. So it's a lot faster to just get through a map using the flame armor. And then there's just like bits off to the side which they're too far away for a torrent to hit it, and like, you know, one skill used from torrent or one skill used from blast, it doesn't really matter which one it is, so it's better to stick on that path, have the sort of optimum route through the map, and then just have the projectiles off to the side rather than torrent. But in a couple of places torrent does come up, we'll see in the runs later, and you might find it very useful. Now I prefer torrent to Mad Squirrel because the cooldown's 20 seconds rather than 30 seconds, but either one is interchangeable, and if you don't have the skill points for torrent, which you probably don't, then Mad Squirrel is good to, you know, just have there instead. You don't really need torrent. Torrent's just slightly better. And having two obviously means that you can alternate between them, even when they're on cooldown. And then lastly, there is one more skill which it kind of comes up slightly in some cases, and that is Protection Bubble. So Protection Bubble has a couple of interesting screens which can do some things. So Curse Protection and Fiery Aura, these do like a retaliation, and it doesn't matter what distance you're at. So theoretically, you can use this, run through enemies, and as they hit you, they all die off. But the problem is when you go to really high move speed, the enemies often, if they need to spawn in especially, they need to spawn in, they need to spot you, they need to attack you, and by that time you're so far past that actually they can't hit you. You know, the range enemies I'm thinking here, the melee enemies, they have no chance of hitting you. So Fiery Aura doesn't really come up that much. I can't really think of many places where you could ever want to use it, but it is something to take note of. And so Curse Protection is the same. And then you have Guardian Light and Storm Ward, which hit an area around you. Guardian Light does it once every second, which is not really that frequent enough. Storm Ward, though, this does super fast hits. So if we just use it here, and then I run to where these things are, as soon as I get close, the things die. It's very, very similar to Empowered Flame Armor. However, it hits a very slightly bigger area. The problem is it's got an animation time to use the skill. So it slows you down a little bit. Plus then you've got to run through enemies and you've already got Empowered Flame Armor on. So it doesn't really come up that much. And I know some people who really, really like this skill. But personally, I would say you only use it in very particular scenarios. Now, there is one which we'll see later in this video. So then you can see where you might want to use it. Basically, it's running through an area where Empowered Flame Armor isn't quite big enough to kill the enemies. So Storm Ward does a slightly better job. And it's at a point when there's that window between flame armors. Because here's something really, really important to note. And that is, Flame Armor, it has about 24-second cooldown when you use it. That is with cooldown reduction from promotion, all that kind of stuff. Like, this is the maximum base cooldown reduction. You have 24-second cooldown on Empowered Flame Armor. So there's 4 seconds when you don't have it on. You need to try and match that to a particular point in the map, which you'll see in my techniques for the two maps later on in this video, that I try and get it in a certain window where I don't actually need Flame Armor at that point, so it doesn't matter. However, on one of the maps, in that window, I do need it, and it's at a particular point in the map where Empowered Flame Armor doesn't do a big enough area to kill the enemies. So in that very, very niche case, Storm Ward comes up and is a good skill for that. Anyway, that's all the skills that you could ever really want to use for farming on Wizard. And let's move on to the runs now. We can see the technique I use on to clear the maps. Starting off with Adamar's Gold Sanctum, we're looking at different move speeds here. What I noticed was that you did actually go faster as you added on more move speed. It's 35 seconds up at 160% move speed, and adding on a second with each of these jumps in move speed. Going up to 160 though, it does get very awkward handling the speed and clearing out things using the technique. It also means you don't use Storm Ward at this section just here, and you can't teleport into the imps. You have to just run through at the end, otherwise the imps get messed up, they don't follow you properly and group together. I also forgot to mention that I use the skill book for Wizard to reduce the time between flame armors. I use the skill book just before using flame armor. So the technique comes up, as you can see here at the beginning. When you get to the top of the stairs, fire blast the enemy in the middle. I run through these enemies in the middle so that the torrent gets them all, and then clear through these enemies, as you can see. Haven't got a teleport for the stairs, but if I used a cooldown potion, I would. You can speed up your run slightly with a cooldown potion. That's where I do the fire blast, Drake fire blast, and then also the Storm Ward for the bit where there isn't a flame armor. and it clears those enemies at the bottom where they're a little too spread out for flame armor to clear. So this map compared to Adamar's Gold Circle, which we're about to see, in this map you clear 170 enemies indestructibles. In the next map you clear 260, so it's about 50% more, and time-wise it takes 50% more time, but you've got the time in town and the loading time and everything, so in terms of getting the most gold for the amount of time you put in, Adamar's Gold Circle is better by, maybe 10-20%. Also, you're getting more gold per gold bar, so it is better for gold. However, I find Adamar's Gold Sanctum is better for jewels because most of them appear at the beginning of the map at that roundabout area. Now moving into Adamar's Gold Circle, got the different move speeds here, and what you'll see over the course of the run is that the 160 and 140, they're almost identical. Basically, it doesn't really speed you up in this map. In fact, it just makes it really awkward to play by going 160%. However, I found that going up to 140 did speed up the run, so you'll see the other two are lagging behind a bit. Now in terms of technique, we'll talk about that in a second, but nothing really changes depending on what move speed you're running. I think you can do pretty much the same technique, and when it comes up to this bit which we're about to come up to, rather than running all the way across, I like to just run up here and then turn back and go up the stairs on the right. I find that it's a bit faster. It does mean it doesn't loop you to go to the boss if you want to go to the boss, but I find it faster to get through the run like that. So as you can see, almost identical with those first two, and then the other two coming a little bit later. So the technique is use Fire Blink to actually kill off those enemies, Fire Blast that group at the back while the Flame Armor catches up. You can put a Drake on the bridge on the 3 statues to clear most of that as you run up along the other bridge. Fire Blast on the left, another Drake on the bridge. Enemies group behind you because you've gone ahead. They sort of group up together for the Fire Blast. Fire Blast in there so you hit the barrels as well and take down the slow enemy. And then come up here and again use Flame Armor to clear those enemies. And you can use Ghost Drake to take down the barrels on the left, as well as just one Fire Blast to kill that group by using the Flame Armor as you run through. Now you come up here, use just a basic attack on the slow enemy so he doesn't slow you down, and then the enemies group behind you for a Fire Blast, and then coming up here, use the Drake and Fire Blast to clear those. And at this point, if the slow enemy slows you, it doesn't matter too much, it only adds on like half a second, and then you clear that. Now, like I was saying earlier on, in terms of the number of things that you're destroying over the course of the run, it actually means you're destroying just over 4 per second, which means it's really not worth clearing, like going off to the side to kill a couple of barrels or a couple of enemies if it's going to add a second onto your time. These runs look messy compared to what some other people do. However, in terms of efficiency, I think this is far more efficient. Now, some people, they are able to do amazing things where they clear the full map and they still do it in like 1 minute. But that's usually with a cooldown potion, and I think this technique is great. I love it. So of the 2 maps, this one's for gold, the previous one's more for jewels, but is easier to run in general. And yeah, that's it from me. Hope you enjoyed this video. The Archer video will be coming soon. Should cover everything to do with wizard farming. I hope it's all clear, and I'll see you in the next one.